Hey, everybody, welcome to The Blacklist, the show where we interview the elite. Today on my right, we have Rio and Dan. They do a lot of things in entrepreneurship, they do solar through roofing, and today we're going to go really deep into both of those topics. So I appreciate you both being here.
Thanks
Hey,
for having us.
appreciate you having us. Absolutely.
Cool. So for most people, people that don't know you guys, right? This is like a new audience for you. Who are you guys, and what specifically do you guys do?
So again, I'm Dan, and this is Rio. We serial entrepreneurship is kind of our main focus in building people,
Yeah.
right? And we focus on sales related industries mostly right now, and so we do a lot of different approaches to different types of sales to try to not reinvent it, but just be strategic about it.
Okay.
So if you want, we could talk about solar.
Yeah.
Solar's a huge product line right now where a lot of people are in that industry specifically because of the size of the commissions.
Yep. Yep.
And so it's become a very saturated and difficult market, especially one like Arizona. So we talk to reps all the time in Arizona. They say you just get beat up out there in the field.
Yeah.
So we had a roofing company specifically using a public adjuster's license to acquire roofing customers, negotiate with insurance companies. And what we figured out how to do was take those customers and transition them from roofing to solar
Okay.
at a very high rate. Okay, so we're able to get these solar guys who are just getting their teeth kicked
Yeah.
in solar, making money, real money, selling solar through roofing.
Right.
Because it's
Right.
so much easier to grab the customer,
Yeah.
right? So if you could imagine, you're knocking on a door and they say, "Is this solar?" And that if you say, "Yeah, this is solar," you're getting a door slammed in your face.
Yep. Yep. That
Right.
happens.
So with roofing, it's like, "Hey, I noticed your roof is destroyed. We're going to get your insurance to pay for it." And they go, "Wait, what's the catch?" "Well, you have insurance, right?"
Yeah.
That's the catch. Okay. So we sign them up through roofing. We get their roof approved by the insurance. They usually doubt that that's even possible.
Yep.
So once we get that done, they're all excited and happy. "Wow, you guys really actually got my roof approved." "Yeah. Hey, if you trusted me on your roof, trust me on this."
Yeah.
So those people that wouldn't normally be open to solar are now open because we've created a relationship and trust with that customer,
That's true.
right? So then we go in there, we sit down, we show them the solar proposition, which is a no-brainer. Most people that sit down and actually look at solar as a product for their home, it's an easy product solution to a big problem with rising utility costs and the monopolization of the utilities and all that stuff that you can't really fight. This
Yeah.
is the only way to protect yourself against the inflationary, tyrant that is the utility company.
Yeah.
So we've given guys a way to sell solar more efficiently, more effectively, create a better customer experience, and be that contractor for life for those customers. And we go in through the roof.
Right. Right. And when did you guys first start this?
So, well, we've been doing roofing for a while, and we had pushed ourselves as one of the top roofing companies in Arizona and public adjusting firms. And then we met Rio and Giles, who are they had a big team of young guys selling life insurance.
Yep.
And they transitioned after they heard about the solar commission, so they transitioned into solar. Went out to California, started running that program with all their guys, and there's a lot of people in the industry and a lot of liars and cheats and steal, like all that kind of stuff. You have that in every industry, right? And they weren't having that great of an experience with the people that were leading that solar program, unorganized, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So Rio reached out to me. We were already in business on another venture with Amazon and different things, e-commerce stuff. And so he's like, "Hey, Dan, I know you guys do the door-to-door canvassing thing. We got a bunch of young guys that are hungry. You want to get into solar?" And I had been against it, but I'm like, you know what? I trust Rio. I like these guys. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So they came over. It was a struggle at first because we tried to run the program separate, and we
Separate
had
how?
separate solar guys knocking doors for solar, roofing guys knocking doors
Okay.
for roof, just to
Yeah.
kind of see, let's test the waters. And our C-level player in roofing is outriding the A players in solar. I'm like,
Damn.
there's a problem here.
Yeah.
Okay, it didn't matter how many people, it didn't matter who it was just happening, and we're like, we need to fix it. So we didn't know how to fix it quite yet, but we're like, you know what? We just ripped the Band-Aid off. We made everybody a roofer, and we merged that, and roofing is not as sexy as solar.
Yeah.
right? Solar has that sexiness to it because the size of the commissions, and a lot of guys are like, I just want to sell solar. I don't want to do anything else, and they're missing the opportunity
Right.
because of how saturated that market is, how difficult it is to get that customer. So we lost some guys in that, but the guys that stayed and actually said, you know what, we're here for you guys. We trust the program. We're willing to fight through it. Now our top rep last week, this today, $30,000
Yeah.
in 1 week, and that's every week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because he took the roofing program serious, and he's like, I'm gonna dive in. I'm gonna figure this out, because we love to see our reps win. Because when our reps are winning, that helps us recruiting, that helps us building the brand, building the awareness, and changing the industry. And it's crazy because, being in the roofing space and a public adjusting space, we have a business to business relationship also, where we can go to contractors and help them negotiate claims against the insurance companies when they don't have that kind of experience. We can, if they don't understand solar, which most of them don't, we can help them pivot and get that solar arm in their business. And it's amazing because, there's 6,000 solar companies in this country.
Damn. Yeah.
That seems like a lot, right?
Yeah.
115,000 roofing contractors.
Shit.
And because roofing's been around forever,
Yeah.
right? As long as there's been things over our head, there's been roofers.
Right.
Solar's very new. So the roofers look at solar like young guys. They're fly-by-nights. They're flashes in the pan. They don't have real longevity and success. And so the roofing world just kind of looks down on the solar guys for that. Like, they're taking advantage of elderly people or whatever, those tactics. And we feel like we have the ability, because of the adjusting side of it, and the solar side of it, to bring that world together. Because if those 115,000 roofers woke up and said, we're already on the roof,
Yeah.
why not pitch solar, right?
Yeah.
It would dominate the market, and roofing would then be the future of solar, which I believe it is. I believe the future of solar is roofing.
Right. Right.
And it's just roofing contractors. And we meet with them all the time, and they're like, look, we've been doing this for 30 years. Solar's it doesn't help the customer. But, we're not going to change our ways. And so there's a lot of that old archaic idea in the roofing world that we're trying to break into those barriers and get these guys to see that, hey, you're already on the roof. Why not make some extra money? If you really break down the numbers, it doesn't even matter how expensive the system is, with the dealer fees and the commission sizes and the points on the system. None of that stuff matters, because at the end of the day, you're still going to pay that utility company $500,000, over the next 25 years. Your system's 60, 80 grand.
Yeah.
Like, you're winning no matter what, right? So it's such a great value proposition that a lot of people, especially if they don't know solar, it's one of the best products on the market, which is why it's taken off so well in areas like California, where the utility rates are so high,
Right.
or these different places.
It's a no-brainer for certain people, or for a lot of people.
Anyone with a utility bill.
Yeah. Yeah. Question. So what does the margins look like then for commissions on solar versus roofing?
So it depends on the program. So the way that our program works is we bring people in most people come in at an entry level, right? And this is one of the biggest differentiators between our program and the traditional solar company. When they come in as a door knocker, because that's where you're starting, as a door knocker, to learn how to knock the doors, overcome objections, get through the adversity of door to door, and then set up appointments for a closer to go in and close the deal.
Yeah.
Those guys, if you're not a very, very strong, passionate, experienced canvasser, you are going to be beat up and you're going to be shoved out. And that's what was happening in the industry. And we saw it with a bunch of different companies all over the place. And that's why when we start people off, they start on the roofing, right? So they start off canvassing for roofing. And the way that we pay, and every company, their compensation plan is different, right? So like the way we pay is per claim. So every claim, whether it gets approved by the insurance or not, they're getting paid, because they can't control that.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
So it gives them the ability to make, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a week, starting off as a canvasser with no experience, because it's much easier to say, hey, free roof, versus, hey, how about a $60,000 loan?
Yeah.
Right? It's so much easier. And so we found that even new people can find that success early on. And then what we've done is created a pathway for them, so they get the roof deal. They don't even have to mention solar. And our solar closers are now masked as roofing guys,
Yeah.
go into the house once everything's been approved. Hey, congratulations, your roof's been
Is
approved.
it different people or is it the same
Different
person?
people.
Okay.
Okay. Now the closer goes in there. Congratulations, Mrs. Jones. We just got your roof approved through the insurance. What color would you like?
Yeah.
Let me show you the upgrade and options that we have for you. It's amazing stuff. They all want to upgrade their roof. Oh, it's another $5,000. Well, guess what? I'm going to show you how to get it done for free.
Yeah.
We roll that into a solar loan. Boom, we've just sold solar on that deal. So that canvasser that originally knocked that door, might be a month, might be 2 months, gets paid commission on that deal,
Yeah.
never having mentioned solar.
That's good. That's good. You know what it reminds me of? Like in digital marketing, there's like this 2-call close where at first you speak to somebody on a discovery call, right? And they kind of qualify you. They might give you like some free tips or whatever. And then on that second close, it's like somebody else that, somebody with higher authority. Once you've already kind of gotten a lot of value, they try to close you on something else or on the package.
Right.
So you're doing that in roofing, which is really good because you're providing a ton of value in the beginning, right? So you build a lot of rapport like right from the get-go. So they trust you. Sorry. So they trust you right after, right? So that's super, super smart. Rio, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, he said it all, but look, man, I mean, we basically created in this industry a blue ocean. I mean, solar everywhere, especially Arizona, saturated. And it's just a red ocean out there with this program. Like you said, it makes it so much easier for anybody to come in brand new and start making good money, and be able to have a pathway to move up and start making even bigger commissions. Like you said, our top guy this week, $30,000 check. So for a week, I mean, that's
really
crazy.
Good. Yeah.
Look, I mean, when you have kids graduating high school, right, coming out the gate making 2, 3, 4,000, they're making more than their parents.
Yeah.
They're thinking, dude, what are you selling on the streets over here? What's going on? What illegal activity are you doing right now? And we've had that conversation with people's parents before. Like, what do you guys having my kid do? Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, this is legal. Right. But that's why I love sales. That's why I love entrepreneurship, because it's a legal way to create freedom.
Yeah.
It reminds me, because I was walking in the studio here and I see that sign. It says freedom right there. And it was the first thing that popped in my mind. Like, yes, that's what we're doing this for.
Yeah. What's crazy about it is what he was just talking about. We had to talk to some kids' parents. We had one kid come in, started 17, still just about to finish high school.
Yeah.
Came in, and within his first week, I mean, this kid started making $2,000 a week, making more than his parents were making. And he's still with us to this day.
And that's his first week?
That was
his first week?
his basically his first week. Started making money right away.
Yeah.
Still with us, still doing well.
How old is he now?
He's 18.
Oh, yeah, 18? Yeah. Damn, dude, that's pretty good. Because usually at 17, you're minimum wage. You make $2,000 probably like in 2 to 3 weeks, So
Exactly.
If that.
Yeah. Well, that's really good. What type of, like, for example, is there like an age range of people that are just crushing it in this industry for you guys?
I mean, we got a pretty wide range of ages. It was like I was talking to one of our guys yesterday, and he came from a pretty rough area, and you can see it on him, And those are my favorite guys.
Yeah.
Because they're underdogs. It's like I'm an underdog, Rio's an underdog. Both of our parents, I mean, we came from nothing, right? And to come out of that environment where it's a whirlwind, a cyclone to failure and mediocrity and complacency and all that stuff, to be able to take yourself out of that world into, driving sports cars and, living wherever you want and traveling and staying in penthouses and being able to throw money any direction that you want to do, and throwing events, going to events, doing all these things, meeting cool people. That to be able to do that is extremely difficult, and we feel the responsibility now to help and teach these young guys how to do that too, especially the ones that are coming from those rougher areas.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to him because he started wilding out, and I'm like, look, dude, I grew up in the hood too. Can you tell? He's like, dude, I had no idea. Well, that's the point, okay? You can't tell, right?
Yeah.
And you need to figure that out, or you're going to end up right back there where you started. Is that what you want? You want to go back to the hood where there's no opportunity, where there's drugs and gang violence and all that shit all day long? Is that where you want to end up? Or are you going to step it up and be professional on and off the field? That's the only way you can do it. So, I mean, I love the underdog, but you have to learn how to take that hood side and kind of push it aside and make sure that you are staying professional and you keep your mind focused. And I see that's the hardest part for these guys that come from those rougher areas is that focus.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that gives them an edge, like the guys that are doing the best on our team came from rough areas because they have to. They don't have a choice, right? It's that hustler mentality. Like, I'm going to win. I don't care what it takes.
Yeah.
Right? That's how it was for me. When I started canvassing at 22 years old, I didn't give a shit. I'm like, I'm just going to be, what's the contest? Where's the board at? Is there a list of names on the board? Because I'm going to be at the top of that thing. I don't give a fuck about what nobody says. And I would work all day long, 7 days a week. Didn't matter to me as long as I was on top of that board.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of environment and attitude that you have to have if you want to get yourself out of, poverty and that life that your parents led, where, hey, go to school, go to college, get a job, get benefits and all that bullshit that they try to indoctrinate you into so that you can be working for the rest of your life. Like, fuck that.
Yep.
Yeah. That's powerful, dude. So, like, are you kind of coaching a lot of these men then when they're because, like you said, the types of people that do the best are the people that came from rougher areas. But sometimes when they come from that, they don't necessarily know how to like proceed. Like, sure, they can do the work, right? They know that part, but like I think that's like one part of the whole thing.
That's all we do is coach.
Yep.
Like because whenever I'm hard on him,
Yeah.
they run to him. If he's hard on them, they run to me.
Yeah.
Or they run to one of our guys, and it's like, and this is how it is, right? And sometimes that tough love is what you need. So like the other day, our whole team started dipping a little bit in production, right? So that's where I come in, and I'm like, and we had the whole group of them in a room. And I said, look, here's the deal: we're cutting the bottom 10%. This ain't a party. This is serious. We're here to make money. We're here to change lives. We're here to do big things. We have a mission. Everybody's on board. If you're not on board, that's okay. We can shake hands, part as friends, but you got to go. They had one of their best days they've ever had that day. It's like, I don't want to have to threaten people's jobs for them to do the right thing, but it's what it is, right? Like, people need to have that pressure. That happened to me. I told this story. I was sitting there and at this office, and I was a newer guy, but I was a producer because I can't like not I have to. I'm a worker, right? So you just and the VP shows up, and this is a big door-to-door canvassing company, and they just fired the manager because he wasn't doing his job, and they come down, and we had a roster of 15 guys on our team, and he looked at the roster. He said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The other 10 are gone. They're fired. And I'm going, oh shit. Our 5 that we had were produced more than the 15 we had on that roster.
Yeah.
Because people bring you down.
And the bottom 10%, is that you guys track that like quarterly? Is it annually or like weekly? Like, what does that look like?
It depends on the week, but we're going to start doing it quarterly. Where, I was listening to some John Maxwell stuff recently, and he was saying that as tough as it was for him to do it, someone gave him the advice of, cutting the bottom 10%
Weekly?
Once a year.
Oh, once a year.
He was doing it once a year.
Yeah.
Right. And he said that created so much productivity because you get rid of the people that are sucking the energy and the culture away from the company.
Yep.
And replacing them with new blood and fresh, excitement. And so we're going to start doing that on a quarterly basis because, at the end of the day, like, it's so easy. You get one bad apple, spoils the bunch.
100%, yeah.
And you have to and culture is it's so tedious, and you have to be so careful because, our responsibility as older guys in our company and leading this thing and making sure that all these people have an opportunity to be successful in life, not just on the sales side, right? We have the sales guys that are going out there hustling, knocking doors, or going in the houses, closing deals, but there's a whole office there. There's 60 employees at this company that they rely on this organization to feed their family. It's not fair for one person to cause a catastrophic event that takes people's livelihood away. It's not fair.
Yeah.
And you got to get rid of those people.
And 2 questions on you guys specifically. So one, like, what do you both do in that company? And number two is like, how do you? Because for me, from what I'm understanding, you're kind of like the hammer, you know. But are you also the hammer, or are you? How do you kind of coach your guys?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm both. Leadership is very important to me. So when it's time to be hard on people, I'm probably the hardest on people when it's
Yeah.
time to be hard. But for the most part, I try to work with them, coach them through it, get them through things. I mean, and this is daily. I mean, you can imagine. We have most of the team is in their 20s. I mean, so
Yeah.
this is
Oh, they need
on a
discipline. They
daily
need structure.
basis,
Yeah.
nonstop. Yesterday had a meeting. Night before that had another meeting at like 8 o'clock at night. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's constant. But in the end, yeah, I want to coach these guys to be better, to do better, whether they end up with us or not. So I'm always working with these guys and building deeper relationships. And look, sometimes there's that time when they're just sticking around. They're not really doing much, but they're sticking around. We've been letting them stick around, and it's like, no, we have to cut it. Like
Yeah.
this is going to be great for you as well. And it's hard. They have a hard time. We've had guys cry, things like that. But in the end, they leave, and it's just that like weight lifted off their shoulders for both sides.
Yep.
And things get better very fast on both sides. So it's kind of crazy how that happens, but we see it a lot.
Yeah. Like for example, I'm still in my 20s, but I agree with you guys. Like people that are in their 20s that kind of either just came from college or whatever, they do need that structure. They do need that discipline, And I mean, I needed that too, back when. Well, I'm still fucking, I'm 26, but when I was younger, like I looked towards that, and that hard kind of like discipline, that tough love is what you need, I think, at that age, because who else is gonna give it to you? Like especially if like your parents might not know how. I mean, sure they can give that to you, but they don't know what you guys know in the industry to actually help them make more money or give them an independent life. Because once you start making money, you can have an independent life.
Yeah.
Without that, it's like it's a little bit more difficult. You can still have a job and do other stuff, but it's just you get a lot more freedom.
And I think today is probably harder than ever because everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, it's very sexy to be an entrepreneur.
And they think what an entrepreneur
Sexy.
means. Yeah, and they think what it means is that you don't got to work.
Oh no, that's
And
definitely
it's
not it.
it's like it couldn't be farther from the truth.
That means you work all the time.
You work
Exactly.
all the fucking time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because we got guys coming and recruiting all the time, and it's like I try to have the conversation with them. And what do you guys, what's your goals? What are you trying to do? And 99% of these guys are just like, oh, I'm trying to create a supplement company, or I'm trying to do this or do that. And this is kind of like a in between type thing. They want to get their
Right.
money up and get something started. And like I appreciate that because that's where I came from. Like I always had big dreams, big goals from a very young age. I had a million ideas. 99% of them never did anything. But at the same time, these guys come in, and that's the goal they told us. So it's like, all right, cool, whatever, come in, do your thing, and then they come in and they barely do anything. They show up late. They don't hardly work.
Yep.
They complain all the time. So it's this contradictory thing where it's like, right away who they are. But we also, the way we're creating this, we want to create this program to where, and we're getting close to where, I want to see what you're about. I want to see, if you're going to get down and dirty, if you're going to get in the trenches, if you're going to work, if you're going to show up, if you're going to be loyal, if you're going to do all these things. But when the time comes, we're always looking to invest in new companies, new things,
Yeah.
real estate, whatever it is. And it's like, hey, you've been around, you've stuck around, you've been loyal, you've busted your ass, you're making money, here's an opportunity for you. Jump in with it. Jump in
Right.
with us. And, that's the environment we're creating. And I think it's really going to change just the whole way that companies are seen, because it's more inclusive. It's like building this loyal, strong team. We call ourselves the Alpha Army.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're really excited about that, and we're just about to start doing that with a few of our guys that are really making some money right now. So it's exciting.
Because you guys met each other before doing this, correct? Like you guys were doing other stuff, like you mentioned, e-com and just other investment stuff like that.
Yeah, correct. I had a company where we did e-commerce management.
Yeah.
So in Tempe, Arizona, and I don't even remember, through some relationships, they found us, they came over, they became one of our clients, and it was one of those things where I'm always looking for, I'm looking deeper at the people I'm talking to. I'm trying to build real relationships, and
Yeah.
I knew right away when I met Dan, I'm like this guy's for real. Like
Yeah.
he's the real deal, and I'm like, there's going to be more. I want more to come out of this. So I kind of from day one kind of set that up, and honestly, it wasn't too much farther after that meeting. I mean, within a year,
Yeah.
we were involved in multiple businesses, and,
Nice.
and we just been crushing ever since.
Yeah.
So
So
the feeling was mutual.
Yeah.
yeah, right away, which is good. You know, sometimes you find that, and sometimes you have a partner and it doesn't go well, and then shit hits the fan, and you know,
And we
people
know
part
that.
ways.
Fuck.
Oh, absolutely. The partners I was with the business where he was a client of ours in
Yeah.
the beginning, that was that.
Oh, that.
Those guys aren't around any longer, and anyway, a couple more since then. But
I mean, look,
it happens.
the only way to become successful is through a lot of failure,
Yeah.
right? And people are so afraid to put themselves out there and fail and get knocked down. But you have to, you know, unless you're born into, you know, extreme wealth and everything's handed to you, and you know, you're gonna get knocked down, and you have to be willing to do that. And that's the best. You know, I heard recently, right? You gotta fall in love with the journey. The journey is more important than the destination.
Yeah.
You know, that's what keeps you going, and it keeps you. You know, it's not the setting of the sail that determines your destination. It's the or not the blowing of the wind, but the setting of the sail. So if you can set that sail, it doesn't matter what's coming side to side or whatever to blow you off course. You know where you're going,
Yeah.
and
You know,
that's
it's crazy. Somebody literally just said that yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not exactly, but they said that. They said if there's two boats, you know, and like one of them has a GPS, it doesn't matter if it gets rocked or whatever, it'll reach its destination.
Right.
The other one, if it gets rocked, it'll end up nowhere, and it'll be like, fuck, where, you know,
Yeah.
where's I supposed to go?
Yeah.
That's
If things are going good, I'm worried. If things are going
Yeah.
good for too long, I'm worried. We're either not trying hard enough, or yeah, something's wrong there. So, you know, I enjoy the journey. I'm all about the journey. We have some hard times, definitely. We have some times where we're like, fuck this, man, this sucks. But
Yeah.
overall, it's like there's no quit. It's like, no, cool, we're gonna get through it, keep pushing, and we always do.
Well, when shit does hit the fan, what do you guys do, like in the company and with yourselves, to kind of like get back up? Because you know, like entrepreneurship is definitely a roller coaster, and I think sometimes it's our job to kind of keep it like steady as possible, or like going upwards.
Sure.
But when shit does go down, what do you guys do? What do you guys have in place that like to kind of get, you know, not
So-
stay there?
Well, I think
ahead.
that. Well, I just think that has to do with mindset. Just like as a sales guy, just like as an entrepreneur, owning a business or whatever, you know, there's going to be tough times. And I remember early on, and the owner of this company that I started at, he told me, tough times don't last. Tough people do. It's never as bad as it seems.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying that, and I think about that every time that something bad happens, because I know that if you just take a deep breath and you give it some time, it'll blow over, and you can solve things. It's when you allow your emotions to dictate your reaction to stuff, that's when you start creating problems, because you're not thinking straight, you're thinking reactionary,
Yeah.
and it's impulsive. And impulse kills. It's great when you're a sales guy and you have that. Like most great salespeople are innately impulsive.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're able
That's
to,
so true.
and that's why they're able to drive out that impulse in others, right? But most salespeople are also terrible with money, with finances, because they're
Anything else? Admin
because
work, like
yeah, because they're impulsive,
Yeah.
right? So when you find that ability to be a hybrid, which is be able to create that impulse, but also be controlled, now you're dangerous,
yeah.
right? And so that's what I worked on for a long time, was being able to be a top sales guy, creating that impulse, but not be impulsive myself, right? That's the secret, I believe, to a sales guy getting to that next level, right? We see it. We have our VP of sales, one of the owners, incredible sales guy. Like he's one of the best I've ever seen, right? He leads our solar guys and our in the home sales guys, and he does an outstanding job. but boy, is he impulsive. Like one little thing, man, and he'd be running on the top of this room right here, and but at the same time, when it comes to like when he's in someone's house, he drives so much emotion and impulse, and he's selling almost every single customer,
Yep.
right? So, and he's only 23 years old, so he's got some time, right? So that's my job is to kind of help him. Hey, be a great sales guy. Here's how we're going to do it. Here's the structure we need so we can duplicate what you're doing. Okay, we've laid out the groundwork for that. But on the other side, calm it down.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Right?
I think, and I think along with that, on top of that, it's always a breakdown of communication. Like that's what it always seems to be. Like whatever problems are going on, whether it's with him or just overall in the company, it's a breakdown of communication. We get together, we just literally start talking it out. 5 minutes later, it's like, oh, this is the solution. This is what we got to do. Or we're pissed off at each other. And there's a few of us owners, so it's like we have little side conversations going on. It's like, look, we all need to get together, talk through it, and almost every single time it's fixed within 10 minutes.
Yeah, like, that definitely reminds me, because anybody who's had a business that's had salespeople know those types of guys that like are just very impulsive, And to me, what I found is like, if I hire older, sometimes that's died down a bit, When I hire younger, like I've had a guy, not gonna name his name, but he was just like that. Like he's phenomenal at sales. Like he crushed it. He had a high close rate. Like he would speak on the phone. He would get them emotional. Like all that stuff. But when it came to like everyday life, like this dude, like it was just chaotic. His life was like he was very impulsive, and he would get mad a lot. And it's like, dude, relax. Like you can be a killer if you just like dial that part down a bit.
And take that, and canvassers are 10x it.
I bet. Yeah.
I mean, it's just what it is. The industry I came from, so that's where you have to. We teach a lot of how to control your thoughts, right?
Yeah.
Mindset, and just like yesterday. So we started rewarding those that are doing well, right? And giving people opportunities to move up in the company. And all of a sudden, you give someone an opportunity to move up, and then they start to lower their production.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. And this is how it's always been, right?
Yeah.
You give someone the keys to the van, all of a sudden their production goes down because they're a manager, now they made it and all that shit.
Right.
And it's like, no, do what you did to get there. Don't stop doing that, right? And so I said, okay, I'm about to flip it. I just took the 2 top producers and said, you guys are the bosses today. So now the people who thought they were the bosses just got almost demoted in a way because they didn't perform the day before.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, it's what have you done for me lately, right? The bank doesn't care what you did yesterday. Tell the creditor you had a bad day. That shit don't work. You got to make it happen right now, every single day. When you wake up in the morning, you have an opportunity to change your life. Do not take advantage of this day because it ain't coming back. We're not out here fighting for money. No one cares about money. We care about time. Time to spend with our family. Time to be able to do the things that we want to do. The money is a byproduct. We want the freedom. We want the opportunity so that we can, if we want to go and take a cruise around the world or fly to another country and enjoy a dinner on some water somewhere or put our feet up in the sand and take our family on nice stuff and buy and have the holiday celebrations we want to have. We want those things. No one cares about the money. The money's a byproduct of the hard work, but we're fighting for time because it's the only commodity you can't get back.
Yeah. Do you guys, you mentioned, time to spend with your family. Do you guys have family? Like immediate, like a wife and kids, things like that?
He's got a boatload.
I got a wife and 8 kids.
Nice. Oh, wow, dude. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. Wouldn't change it.
Yeah. And
I got a wife and 2 little beautiful babies.
Yep.
I'm a new dad. I got a 2-year-old and about to be 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nonstop. It's all day, and when it's crazy because no one knows this until you have kids. Like it's people used to say you don't understand what it's like until you have kids. You got to see them. You'll see when you hold your baby. And all this kind of stuff. Once you really like those babies start looking at you, and they see you as like you are everything, you start realizing I will run through a goddamn wall. Like give me, I don't even need a helmet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful thing. And, you know, and I think that's something that's missing right now, because a lot of these kids, like, I'm never having kids. And it's just like the mantra now that's just it's being pushed all over the place. We see it, and it's sad because, you know, I started late, you know, in my 30s, I started having kids, 31, 32, 33, 33. I'm like, shit, how old am I? And it's the most beautiful thing in the world.
Yeah.
All the money in the world wouldn't replace them. And you know, I never thought that way. Going through my 20s and grinding door to door, building these companies and doing all that stuff, I'm like, that's what's most important. It's grinding, spending time. Like, I'm first one in, last one to leave. I'm going to make sure that I'm always number one, and all these kind of things. And I that's how I live my life. And now with having these babies, it's like, this is more important than all that shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You have a girl, boy, both?
Both.
Nice, nice. And I'm assuming, yeah, you.
I got both. I got 5 girls, 3 boys.
Nice, dude. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is because I just had mine like 8 months ago, but it is a game changer. You know,
Game changer.
It's so true. Like, the moment you see them, the moment they look at you and they just smile, they like automatically just love you. You did nothing, and they just love you, and it's like, fuck, like, I would do anything, you know, for you. So that's good. How do you guys manage?
But that's the double-edged sword, because you have to, you know, that you have to go out and grind and make it happen, and then that takes away from the time to spend with them.
Yep.
Right. So
Which
it's
sorry.
that double-edged. It's and that's the terrible part of it, right? And like, who wouldn't want to spend all their time with their? I don't know. Maybe people get sick of them, but I'm just who wouldn't want to spend all their time with their family? You know, like, go travel, do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, like, as men, we have a responsibility to provide. We have a responsibility to make sure that our house is stable.
Yeah.
Right. The woman takes everybody does their thing, right? Different. For me and my family, it's my wife. Her job is to make our house a home.
Yep.
And my job is to make sure that financially we're taken care of. We're good. There's always food on the table. That's my, you know, I'm a hunter, right? That's what we are. And I take that extremely serious. And that's where that double-edged sword comes in, because she gets upset at me for being at work all the time, and only because she wants me around more.
Yeah.
But I get upset. I'm like, stop telling me to be around more, you know? Like, I want to be around more, but I also want to make sure that we're financially set up. And it's never enough. So there's you know, somewhere there's
Well, yeah, dude. Well, I was getting coaching on that because I was having the same issue, you know. And he told me something that was super powerful. He said, you know, women, like, as like the man of your household, like, you're not just a provider, you know. Like, you're more than that. You're also a husband. You're also a father, right? So you have to, like, also provide emotionally. And for us, like, I just want to pay the bills, you know. I want to pay the bills. I want to come home, and, you know, I want to see my daughter, and like, just do that. And I want to be able to grow my company, and like, and that's true, right? That's what we can do. But the moment he said that, it kind of switched my perspective a bit, because he's like, because in a way he's right, you know. Like, they're not just dating providers, you know. They're dating their husbands. They're dating, what the fuck? They're married to their husbands,
right.
you know. So I was like, that's some good perspective, you know.
And if you got a good partner, right, she doesn't care what you do. All she cares about is that you're a good husband and father. And that's the hardest part for guys like me, like, you know, alpha guys that are just like, fuck,
Yeah.
okay. You know, and I know Rio and the same thing, because we work all the time. We get it from our wives all the time about it. And, you know, at the end of the day, they didn't marry the business.
Yeah.
They married us.
Right.
You know, and it's hard to remember that. It's, you know, because, you know, you get in a game and it's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like in the middle. I feel like every second it's like the middle of the football game, and I'm standing there on the sideline screaming at players.
Every minute counts, you know.
You know, and then I'm like screaming, like, "Come on, you got to catch this pass!" And then my wife's saying, "Hey, you need to be home with the kids." and that's what it feels like, right?
Yeah.
And you got to realize that, wait, it's not the middle of the game at 8:00 at night.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to find that kind of, I don't know what to call it, an off switch.
It's hard.
It's
hard.
It's very hard. It's very hard.
How do
a
you
lot
do
of
it,
it's
dude? Because
like-
you have 8 kids.
It's time management, and I'm not even gonna say I'm good at it.
Yeah.
I definitely recently really have been really more focused on that. Whereas before I was kind of wanted to have my hands on a lot of different things in the business. You know, I'm the oldest guy there. I have experience. I want to help in everything I can do. And then I realized like I'm not getting very much done here
Right.
by doing this. So I need to dial everything in. And that's what I've been doing, just getting really cautious about my time. And, you know, I know Rob Dyrdek is like, that's his
Yeah.
thing. So I'm like, I'm not going to go that extreme like he does
Yeah.
to know every second of every minute of every day. But, you know, I know like, okay, you know, my son's got basketball practice. Normally I would just keep pushing through. I would forget, but I'm like, no, I got to leave by this time so I can get home, get to practice, do these things, and really focus. And look, I'm still learning. I'm getting better every day. I've been trying in my mind to take my wife to dinner for the past like month, and it hasn't happened yet. So, you know, it's hard, but you know, hopefully she is like, it's the thought that counts.
Yeah.
But no, it's hard, man. It's just time management and really dialing that in, really being more optimizing your time that you do have, because I think that's one of the biggest things. I mean, okay, you know, I was at work for 10 hours today, but how much actual work did I get done? And when you really start looking at it that way and breaking down everything that you did, you're like, shit, man, like I got like 3 hours of work done. I've been here for 10 hours.
Yeah.
So when you start looking at it like that, you can really start optimizing and getting better with your time.
Because those other 7 hours where you were just like shooting the shit, you could have, you know, done something else that was
Exactly.
productive, or, you know, texted your wife or whatever, you know?
100%.
Well, if you look at it like the Ed Milet, you know, 6 hour day,
Oh, yeah.
you know, where every 6 hours is another day, and you're progressively moving past everybody else because you're breaking up your time. It goes back to time. It always comes back to time. We're not fighting for money. We're fighting for time.
Yeah.
But you're going to have to change. At some point, you're going to have to exchange. You have to make that choice, because you're going to have to sacrifice a lot of time for the money. And either you're going to do it when you're young and you have the ability and it's okay to do it because you have the energy and you're excited to do it and whatever, or you're going to do it when you're older and it sucks.
Yeah.
Right? Pick one. But you're at some point you're sacrificing, unless you were born into wealth and things are just handed to you.
Yeah. So if you're young and you're listening to this, I agree. You know, like, start when you're young. I wish I started earlier, and I was in high school when I started. You know, so I'm like, the earlier you start, the better, because then you don't have the other stuff like bills.
Start getting them at 5 years old.
Yeah, right away. No, but yeah, it just gets harder when you get older. You know, you can't, like, I used to think, you know, back in the day, like, my age was a luxury. If I fucked up, you know, at 18, 17, it didn't matter. Like, I had so much time to restart. Like, now I have a kid, I have a woman, I have like a ton of things. Like, if I fuck up, it's pretty bad now, you know?
You know, at the end of the day, there's a reason why they call 18 the age of majority. You have now entered the majority of society. No one cares.
Yeah.
As soon as you're 18, you can go in the military and get shot down, right? No one gives a shit. So you're 18 and someone's 70 and they're more successful than you, is because they're better. So you need to catch up, period. And that's just the way it is. Like, the world is extremely competitive. It's extremely competitive. And, you know, again, that's where sales can be an outlet for people that they want that real freedom to go out, build a company, be successful, learn how to sell.
Yeah.
Right? Learn how to go out there and grind and make it happen. But the world is competitive. As soon as you turn 18, no one cares.
Do you think it's gotten more competitive now or less? I think it's gotten less, but
It's different now, because you have technology that takes the place of stuff. You don't have to be the biggest and strongest
yeah.
to be successful. You can do it. You can do it up here, which makes it in some ways even more. Look at the Silicon Valley, right? That place is extremely cutthroat and competitive.
Yeah.
They will slice each other's throat left and right over there, right? And those guys couldn't beat somebody up if you gave them gloves and someone put their hand behind their back, right? And that's just the way it is. But those guys are now in the realm of, you know, millionaires and billionaires because of this, and they've learned how to leverage technology to create their success. So in some ways it's less competitive in some ways because kids are lazy. But in other ways, like, it's more competitive because there's more opportunity to become successful, and the people that want it bad enough are taking those spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think what you just said, that's where it's at. I think most of the world, the new generation, most of them are soft. But I think at the same time, it's awakening the lions, the sleeping lions, the guys that are, you know, they're strong, hardworking men, whatever, but they just been kind of like chilling, and they're waking up to seeing what's going on, and they're coming in to take theirs. So within that realm, it's way more competitive.
Yeah. No, that's true. Well, let's do a part of the segment where we kind of give one piece of advice from each of you to people that are, I think for this audience, like people who are just starting out, they want to do something. What's one piece of advice that you guys would give them? You can start off first, Dan.
Sure. If you're just starting out, I can say that there's four very important things that you have to have in order to become successful if you're starting out in entrepreneurship, sales, in that arena, right? So that's my background. That's where I started. And the first thing is attitude, your mindset. You have to believe that you can. You have to believe that no matter where you came from, that does not dictate where you're going, right? That's number one. Number two is you have to have a pitch. You have to have your product, your service dialed in. You have to know how to overcome objections and become a professional in your trade, and you have to know how to relate to people, build a rapport. If you can master those four things right there, you'll dominate any sales arena that you're in, and that's where you're going to find that wild and just if the luxury life, the driving nice cars, the having anything you want, the time and the freedom, you master those four things and you'll be in the door.
Nice, dude. Nice. And then you, Rio?
I would say dial in your skill set. I think we're in, in a time in history where everybody wants to do everything. I want to do a little bit of this, shiny object syndrome, all this thing. So dial in your skill set. Find one thing and get crazy good at it. And then from there, go find people, go build relationships with people that you can use that skill set to add value to them. And when you look at life like that, I mean, you're one relationship away from changing your whole life.
Powerful. And so, now that we kind of concluded, where can people find you guys?
You can find me most of the time. It's going to be Instagram. I'm on most platforms, but it's at Rio Osorio, RIOOSORIO. And then our recruiting hub would be official.alpha.army on Instagram. And that's where you can find me.
And that's where most people can find the program, right?
Exactly.
Yep. You can find me on Instagram as well at dan.zrihen, ZRIHEN. Hey, if you're looking for an opportunity to change your life, make big time money, learn the skill sets, be around the community, the culture, the winning atmosphere, fun, incentives, things like that. That's our game. We're going to teach young guys how to blow it up, become alphas, not only in their professional life, but also in their personal life. It's something that we talk about all the time.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate you both being on the show.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Hell yeah, man. Dope.